Season 2 of the East Europe DPC is only a few days away now, and I could not be more excited to watch it. That's why in this video I'm going to be taking you through all the teams competing and giving you the rundown on each of them, starting with our reigning champions, Virtus.pro. This current iteration of VP was originally picked up by the organisation to represent their youth team, Virtus.pro Prodigy, in April of 2020. After undergoing a couple of roster changes, namely GPK and Kingslayer joining the squad, they were transferred to the main VP team in November 2020, after consistently outperforming the actual VP roster at tournaments throughout the year. They came into DPC Season 1 and looked incredibly impressive on their way to a 7-0 record, one of only 2 teams to go undefeated in the entire DPC. They won their games in dominating fashion, ending up with a KD ratio of 2.39, meaning that for every death they conceded, they got an average of 2.39 kills in return. With their number 1 spot locked up, they headed off to Singapore for the major, with many people, including myself, expecting great things from them. However, it didn't quite work out that way. Starting in the upper bracket, they were promptly dispatched 2-0 by PSG LGD, and after being able to beat out Quinty Crew in a close lower bracket series, they then ran into the juggernaut that was Thunder Predator and lost 2-0 to the SA squad to end a disappointing major run with a 7th to 8th finish. VP will no doubt be looking to redeem themselves coming into this season, and currently all signs point to them being able to reclaim their spot atop the East Europe throne. NaVi is an organisation with a long, rich history in Dota 2, though as of recently they've been struggling to reclaim their former glory. This roster, however, boasting a healthy mix of both talent and experience, could represent their best chance in years to climb back to the upper echelons of international Dota. This squad was originally formed under the banner of Ukrainian org Fly to Moon, before being picked up by NaVi on a trial basis in September 2020 and being permanently signed on shortly before the start of DPC Season 1. There they managed to secure themselves 2nd place, getting off to a 5-0 start before series losses to both Team Spirit and VP made for a slightly disappointing end to an otherwise great season. One of their most successful strategies was anchored around their offlaner, General, whereby they would pick him a Necrobook offlaner, usually Beastmaster or Enigma, and he would take control of the enemy triangle, greatly limiting the other team's potential to farm and allowing NaVi to take over the game. However, they will be without General for this upcoming season, kicking him from the team in favour of 5-time Mage winner Ramses, most well known for his 3-year tenure as carry for Virtus.pro. He will be playing the offlane role for NaVi, however, a position he is mainly unproven in, so it'll be interesting to see how he fits into NaVi's playstyle in this upcoming season. NaVi were unfortunately not able to attend the major, owing to, among other reasons, a number of the team and support staff contracting coronavirus, and then the stand-ins that they had arranged having flight issues on the way out to Singapore. Nonetheless, they will be looking for another strong performance this season, and it will be no doubt intriguing to see how this big roster change will affect them going forward. AS Monaco Gambit, or Asm Gambit, is the current name for the team that started out the DPC season as Live to Win, originally forming in October 2020 before swapping out ILTW, their carry at the time, for Dream to create the roster you see today. Another team with both tenured players in the East Europe scene such as Seneko and Afterlife, along with relative newcomers Dream and Immersion, this team started the DPC season 2-2 before being picked up by Gambit in partnership with the French football team AS Monaco. That wasn't the only change they made during the season, as they announced that No One, Virtus.pro's former star mid laner, would be joining the team for the remainder of the league as a stand-in. From there they lost their next match narrowly to NaVi, but bounced back to take the last 2 series, both 2-0s, forcing a 3rd place tiebreaker with Team Spirit. The 2 teams faced off in a back and forth 3 games, but ASM Gambit eventually came out victorious, clinching a wildcard spot at the Singapore Major in the process. At the Major they faced a very competitive wildcard, and despite impressive victories in a round robin over Liquid, Enigma and T1, they were bested by Liquid in the best of 1 tiebreaker, and were sent home in 14th place, without anything to show for their efforts. In the last few days, ASM Gambit have announced No One as a permanent roster member, and given how they played with him towards the end of last season, it's very possible that they will be able to contend for top 3, perhaps even top 2 in the upcoming season. Team Spirit are my personal favourite team to watch this DPC, across all regions, and to be totally honest, I don't really know why. I could try to explain it, but the truth is I just found myself becoming a Team Spirit fan over the course of this EBC without any rhyme or reason. This current roster formed in the latter half of 2020, competing in tournaments under the name Yellow Submarine, including a victory at BTS Pro Series 4, besting European squad Viking GG in the finals. In December they were picked up by Team Spirit and promptly received an invite to the upper division of the East Europe DPC. They were slow to start however, suffering upset losses to No Techies and Team Empire. However, after that they started to turn it around. They became the only team in the league to take a game off of VP, a 61-minute slugfest featuring double E-blades that was my personal favourite game all season. Then, with their backs against the wall, needing to win both of their last two series for a shot at going to the major, upset NaVi 2-1 and managed to get by Team Unique to force a tiebreaker with Asm Gambit. Of course, they couldn't quite get it done in the end, but this team still has plenty of upside. Yatora was the most impressive player on this roster for me, boasting a fairly wide hero pool, above average stats across the board, and some huge performances down the stretch of the season, although Toronto Tokyo also deserves a special mention for not only having the best name in the DPC, but also being a pretty good mid laner. Like seemingly all teams in this league, Spirit also underwent a bit of a roster shuffle at the midway point, replacing So Bad with Miro in the 4 position. This team is very fun to watch, so I strongly suggest you check out their games, and I'm not just saying that as a fan. Unlike the teams above them in the standings, Extremum did not get a direct invite to this first season of the East Europe DPC. A team that had just added 2 new players, Shachlo and Chu, to their ranks, they had to participate in the Decider tournament, an 8-team double elimination bracket where the top 4 would go to the upper division and the rest to the lower division. For almost all intents and purposes, getting into the upper division this season is pretty much the only way that you can hope to make it to TI, unless you want to chance the regional qualifiers. Extremum lost their first series to Team Empire, but managed to battle their way through the lower bracket, defeating Hellraisers and Bait to secure a place in the upper division. There they performed pretty much exactly as expected, not really being able to stand up to the invited teams, going a combined 1-8 on maps across their series with them, but they were the best of the rest, defeating the remaining 3 teams and securing their place in the upper division for another season. One of their most unique facets as a team was how much they played the 5-position Death Prophet, an unconventional hero-role combination that Extremum were a very early adopter of. Of course, at the moment it's not uncommon at all to see Death Prophet being played in the hard support role, but seeing Extremum being ahead of the curve in that regard is certainly interesting. Led by G, veteran of the scene since the Dota 1 days, Extremum will be no doubt hoping to improve on this 5th place finish in the upcoming season, but with the teams above them looking very strong, it's not going to be easy. Team Unique, much like Extremum, had to run the gauntlet of the Decider tournament in order to make it to the upper division of the DPC. However, they weren't known as Team Unique yet. Under the name No Pangolier, they, much like Extremum, fell down to the lower bracket after being 2-0'd by Team Empire, but managed to pull out a close win against Team Windstrike and move on to the upper division. They were signed by Team Unique 4 days before the start of the league, but their season didn't quite go according to plan. After losing a couple of close 3-game series to the likes of Extremum and Team Spirit, this team found themselves in a relegation tiebreaker against Team Empire, needing to win to stay in the upper division for next season. Both teams had had wins against each other in the past, and with so much to play for, it was hard to pick a favourite. However, it was Unique who came out on top, besting Empire 2-1 and sending them down to the lower division. As for Unique, after coming very close to relegation last season, they've decided to make a change in their roster, dropping Pikachu and replacing him with FN, who started the season on Live to Win. For a team that has only shown flashes during the season, they'll need to improve fast, or could find themselves staring down the barrel of relegation once again. Finally, the 2 teams promoted from last season's lower division, Windstrike and PuckChamp. Both went 6-1 over the course of the season, with PuckChamp managing to get the upper hand in the head-to-head, with a 2-1 series win over Windstrike. It's slightly difficult to predict how these teams might fare in the upper division this season, given that the playstyles and calibre of the teams they'll be facing will be very different. However, I was lucky enough to be able to talk to Seek and Strike, one half of a casting duo with Mr. Avo Plus, who together covered the entirety of the East Europe Lower Division DPC. According to Seek, PuckChamp will be more of a boom or bust team in the upper division, having come into the first season through the open qualifiers, but being relatively inexperienced as a team, they play as many tournaments as they can, and have some impressive placings to show for it, sporting 2nd and 3rd place finishes at the 2 Snow Sweet Snow tournaments, both of which featured upper division teams from both Western and Eastern Europe. PUGChamp are typically very aggressive in the way that they draft, which could make for difficult matchups against some of the more organised upper division teams, but with art style, decorated player and coach joining the team in a coaching role, we might see their aggressive tendencies reined in slightly. Nonetheless, this is the team whose games will be fun to watch and who have serious upset potential in this upcoming season. As for Windstrike, they lost to Unique in the decided tournament and as a result found themselves in the lower division, but they quickly found their footing and looked impressive on their way to a 6-1 season. Unlike PUGChamp, they haven't really participated in other tournaments, and when they haven't managed to get results against the calibre of teams they'll be facing in this upper division. Despite this, they do have one of the most experienced players around in Cheshire Cat on the offlane role, although for a team that seems to be more comfortable matching up against less skilled teams, it remains to be seen how they will fare in this upcoming season. And that's it. All the teams recapped, and hopefully you feel a little bit more prepared for what should be another incredibly entertaining season of East European DPC. You can find all the upper division games on the ESL Dota 2 Twitch channel, where their talent are very serious, and that is Carl in his underwear. Why am I even watching? Why is it still on the screen?